Here we go, live on a Friday in the upstate. This is First and Tim. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening, YouTube channel, First and Tim, Spotify. A lot of great action this weekend. Unfortunately, the only thing to watch last night due to the Yankees and Guardians postponed due to weather was Thursday night football. Amazon deserves, I think, everybody a free month of Amazon Prime. My gosh. What can you do? Also, Russ Westbrook beating himself, not beating one, a team player. I'll have more on that later. So we know the talk of it's been all week. In fact, it's been the last couple weeks is, when finally the Cowboys and the Eagles end up playing. Well, that ends up being Sunday night. You got the Chiefs and the Bills playing as well as a rematch of the playoffs from last year. So both those are two big games. But let's go start with this. So Dak Prescott wants to play. And he wants to play now. And the Cowboys keep saying, slow down. We're going with Rush. And I think to myself, you know what? Let history be your guide. So why would Dak be in such a hurry or nervous? He's popular. He's talented. He's made Pro Bowls. Why would he be worried? Let's start with the beginning of his career. Didn't he replace the injured Tony Romo? Nobody thought he was as talented as Romo. Romo made 4 Pro Bowls. He was a naturally gifted thrower. At that time, Romo had the 3rd highest passer rating of all time. Let me slow it down for you. All time. But Romo got hurt. Again. Then came 4th round, Dak Prescott was inserted to the picture and was more mechanical than Tony Romo. Cooper Rush is more mechanical than Dak. All of a sudden, the Cowboys really leaned into the run game to support Dak. Well, now they're really leaning into the run game to support Cooper Rush. Jerry Jones immediately had great fondness for Dak back then, and now Cooper Rush. Let history be your guide. Nobody thought Dak was as good as Tony Romo. Dak got off to a great start. Cooper Rush is off to a great start. He's 4-0. This is what Dak sees. He's not stupid. I'm sure his sleep number has shifted a little bit in his bed. But now, what if Cooper Rush goes to Philly and he wins? Many believe that's the best team in the league. Look, you don't have a quarterback controversy until you have a quarterback controversy. Tony Romo, wildly popular. He dated Jessica Simpson at one point. Commercials everywhere. Romo was talented. Made twice as many Pro Bowls than Dak has. Much more natural thrower than Dak. Tony Romo was in the middle of a huge contract. And then he got hurt again. Questions surrounding Tony Romo. Can he win the big game? He's 2-4 in the playoffs. People saying the same questions about Dak. Can he win the big game? He's 1-3 in the playoffs. One thing we know about old Jerry is that Jerry loves a good story. And that makes him look smart. Especially a story that makes him look football smart. He loved that Tony Romo was undrafted. He loved that Dak Prescott went in the 4th round. He loves the fact that no one saw Cooper Rush undrafted. The Cowboys got him. Jerry did. Jerry knows football. He loves these stories. And Dak sees all of this. I know what you're thinking. Tim, well, it's way different now. No, it's not. For you guys that are viewing on YouTube, let's look at Romo's career stats and Dak's today. Huh. They're identical. Identical. Win percentage, completion percentage, yards per attempt, and passer rating. Identical. And listen to this. Dak has played behind a much better offensive line on average than Tony Romo did. Romo, the 10th highest passer rating to this day in the NFL. He doubled the Pro Bowls. Tony probably could have still played. He was hurt again. Getting hurt more often. That sounds familiar. Dak wants to get back. Dak wants to get back fast. You don't think there's any similarities? Me, everybody, they're not going to go get rid of Tony Romo for that guy from Mississippi State. There's shows all over the nation about opinions and Cowboys enthusiasts praising how good Cooper Rush is. You think Dak sees any of that? And that's why he wants back now. And the other day, Mike McCarthy said, we're taking it slow.
You got to trust the medical process. I mean, this is a 17-game season. That was my immediate response. I know Dak didn't want to hear it, but we got to make sure that he's right for the long haul too. So not that I'm saying we're being conservative, because I mean it doesn't really line up with him and the way he approaches, preparing for the play. But yeah, this really is following the medical timeline, and he's doing all the things he could possibly do and more to get ready.
Let history be your guide. Dak knows how he entered this league. He feels it. He sees it. And he's hurt again. And now you have this unknown guy, a little more mechanical, team leading in the run game. The owner is smitten with him. Wasn't too long ago. Cooper Rush wins against Philly. Wait until what people say then. And that's why Dak wants back. All right, so it surfaced this week about Odell Beckham Jr. He is nowhere to be found other than Twitter. And, he was basically saying he had a shot with the Rams and talking about how he lowballed them and blah, 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 all this other stuff. Really, really well-run and successful championship teams usually start with good ownership. And then all the way down the line, the GM, then the coach, just a lot of smart people. The Warriors are the smartest NBA organization right now. A lot of smart people. They had a crisis this week. They handled it privately, said all the right things publicly. No one is mad at the Warriors. They're mad at Draymond, but they're not mad at the Warriors. So the Rams similarly came out with OBJ coming out this week tweeting, I want to be a Ram, but they lowballed me. So the Rams have a little crisis on their hands. But the smartly owned Warriors, the smartly owned Rams, the smartly managed Warriors, the smartly coached Warriors, the smartly managed Rams, the smartly coached Rams. Here's how they handled Odell Beckham calling them out with Sean McVay.
I love Odell. We have constant dialogue. I think he also knows that certainly I don't think that's the last one that would come from us. I'm not familiar exactly what it is. He knows how we feel about him. We got a little bit of time, but love Odell. Nothing but good things coming from me.
Placate the public. Know what to say. It's harder than you think. Washington can't even talk about their quarterback right. Ron Rivera had to apologize and take it back after he talked about Carson Wentz. You think that's easy? But that's a poorly owned franchise. More on that later. But OBJ right now, at this point, he's basically the Airbnb of receivers. You don't want to own. Nothing long term. But it's a nice place. I would stay in it briefly. And that's what he is. He's a rented wide receiver. They kept saying this last year. OBJ saved the Rams. I think the Rams kind of saved OBJ. He only caught 50% of his targets in Cleveland. His career had been reduced to his dad putting out YouTube videos to Baker Mayfield. Drops, toxicity, couldn't get along. I'm not blaming him for it, but this is the idea. He saved the Rams. I thought he was very productive and very good. But he got hurt before half, and the Rams won the Super Bowl. Bottom line is, if Allen Robinson wasn't what appears to be an inefficient player, I'm not saying a bust, but they paid a lot of money for him in this offseason, and they don't even design plays for him. But if Allen Robinson was what we thought he would be, they wouldn't be interested in OBJ. He's 30 years old. When he comes off the injury, you can't depend on him physically. He needs a lot of attention. He is talented, but then again, he's 30. He's coming off knee surgeries. So my take this week, we saw this implosion. There's crisis with the Warriors. Coach comes out, really smart, knows how to handle it. This could be a potential crisis with OBJ, getting lowballed. Coach comes out, really smart. He puts a little wet blanket on the fire that's emerging. Draymond and the Warriors, he'll continue to play. OBJ and the Rams, they still call him. He still takes their calls. This stuff seems easy, but a lot of people can't even get the podium right in sports. It's often like the Commanders. It starts at the top. So finally, the Patriots have some good news. We've won 2 in a row, and sure enough, it's been a third-string quarterback. So Bailey Zappi got the Patriots a win in his first career start. And Belichick had a typical press conference the other day in which what quarterback he'll go with.
Judge how Bailey played against the Lions last week. Pretty clean game overall. Change the timetable for bringing back that maybe afforded a little more lenience on the back end and bringing back that.
Totally independent. No, doesn't have anything to do with it.
Is Mac the starter when he's ready to go?
We'll see where he's at. I don't know.
We'll see where he's at. The perception is Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Bailey. Okay? But if Zappi goes on a 3-game winning streak, and like this past Sunday, they're all blowouts and he's highly inefficient again. Look, you don't think there's a quarterback controversy until there's a quarterback controversy. Yes, Mac Jones should be better than Bailey Zappi. Zappi's college numbers from Western Kentucky, yes, he was a machine. Now, they're about the same size. Zappi to me is a little more mobile. Bottom line in this league, you got to win Sunday. So, but what if Mac Jones comes back 2 weeks, he's hurt again. Zappi comes back again, wins 4 more games. Look, you've lost your job if you don't win in this league. You don't lose your job if you replace a quarterback. You don't lose it for that. You lose it if you don't win games. Mac is better, but watching Zappi in 2 games, the kid can play. So, of course, the Lakers, they're always in the news. The Lakers the other night, they were playing the Timberwolves in a preseason game, and our favorite person that they love to put into the news, not LeBron, Russell Westbrook, as I like to admit, commits a bad foul, and Pat Beverly calls the team to huddle up. Now, you've got LeBron, you've got AD, and Russ is like, nah, I'm good. And Beverly confronts him, and Westbrook wants nothing to do with it. Apparently, also, this happened the same thing during warm-ups, where Westbrook wanted nothing to do with the team. He will not join the team. He did not even make eye contact with teammates. Old Darvin Ham, yeah, he's great. Pat, Bev, and Russ made up 2 weeks ago. No eye contact. Okay, Russ has no eye contact with the team. He sold his home. Well, he didn't sell his home. He's trying to. He's changed agents. I mean, Westbrook fans out there, what do you want us to think? I've got this video posted up, I think, on my Facebook group last night. But you guys can go through the feed and look at it again. But, I mean, it keeps resurfacing. But, I mean, I'm looking at the body language. You know? Okay, his house for sale. He's changing his agent. Multiple times the Lakers have dropped hints. So I don't see him around by the All-Star break. You know, what do you want us to believe when we're watching this video? Look, if you see the West right now, Denver has Jamal Murray. He's back. They'll be better. Dallas should be good. Golden State now has 3 young players who are emerging like star potential players. They'll be better. Clippers get Kawhi back. They'll be better. Pelicans, Grizzlies, and Timberwolves. The Timberwolves spent a bunch of money in the offseason, but the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and the Timberwolves are all young ascending teams. Okay, so right now I'm at 7. And Phoenix might not be better, but today they're better than the Lakers. Okay, so then I now have the Lakers. That makes 8. And as long as there's no toxic fallout with Westbrook, that'll put them leaning towards 8. But this just isn't a great team. They're old and outdated. LeBron's going to give you 50 games. AD's going to give you 30. To my point, go back and look at the video, and it tells you all you need to know. And this is out. It makes you wonder, this video is out. They're making it public. It's everywhere. People are retweeting it. They're TikToking it. They're whatever. The video is out. It makes me wonder what's going on behind the scenes. We're in the middle of October, and man, we have a good weekend of college football. It's ascended to the level of almost the hype of last year's playoff weekend with huge matchups. And one of them is being Michigan hosting Penn State. I like Michigan to win. It's amazing on all the social media platforms, so many people are doubting Jim Harbaugh. And the knock that they keep coming back to is, well, he never won a natty title. Look, in the last 10 years, Ed Ogeron and Jimbo Fisher have won national titles. You don't think Harbaugh is a better coach? He got the team to a Super Bowl. Now that can't be the measuring stick of greatness. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Josh Allen can't even get there. Is Nick Foles better than Josh Allen? I think if you took Nick Saban out of college football, there's an argument that Jim Harbaugh is the second best coach. By the way, he took 5 wins to 10 first year at Michigan. It took Kirby Smart 2 years to win at Georgia. And in Georgia, you're in a state where the minimum is 130 Division I football players. Harbaugh has to lead the state to get recruits, to get good football players. Kirby Smart goes around the corner with his car and he gets great players. So Michigan is his 4th head coach job, and he's won in all of them. 3 of the 4 he won the very first year. I think he's a good coach. Again, people are just stubborn. Lamar Jackson's overrated. Stubborn. Harbaugh can't coach. If you take out the COVID season, he averages 10 wins a year. He just beat Ohio State last year. He's the reigning Big Ten champ, coming off a playoff appearance. And I honestly think potentially by the end of the year, he's the fastest, best football team. Doubt him if you will, but I think Michigan wins this weekend. I think he's a better coach than James Franklin, and I think that coach is fine. But if you hold on to this argument that, well, he's never won a natty. Texas A&M today got rid of Jimbo Fisher. They replaced him with Jim Harbaugh. Ed Ogeron was fired twice. Now, he seems like a nice guy, but his record in college football without Joe Burrow is under 500, and that's at LSU and USC. People are like, keep your eye on Penn State. They're not talking about them. You know what that means. How about you keep your eye on Michigan and Harbaugh? This is their best team yet, and they're going to win this weekend. Now, another interesting game this weekend is Tennessee hosting Alabama, and we know Alabama has won this game for maybe 10 or 12 straight years. But I've caught Tennessee games a few times this season, and their quarterback, Hendon Hooker, he is the guy. It seems the way to beat Bama is great quarterback play. And, of course, the other way to beat them is not to turn the ball over to them. This guy doesn't turn it over. Tennessee fans are showing up tomorrow thinking they'll win this game. Bryce Young is coming off a shoulder injury, which we don't know the status of the injury leading up to this game. Hooker is a quarterback who doesn't turn it over. He's got wideouts who can stretch the field. And their defense who can get after the quarterback. Everyone outside of Tuscaloosa is rooting for Tennessee in this game. I see this quarterback also being one of the top picks in the upcoming draft for the NFL. So I mentioned how there's several stories this week that have come out, and it seems a lot of it has to do with physicality, and I don't mean on the field or on the court. I mean off the field or off the court. Of course, it started, I forget it was Monday or Tuesday, where you had Draymond pushing Jordan Poole into practice. Not really pushing. They shoved, and then Draymond sucker punched him. Either way. Then you have the Devontae Adams situation that happened Monday night after the game on Monday Night Football when he was heading in the tunnel. You know, a equipment guy or whatever walked in front of him, so he shoved him. So with this Draymond sitch, we know if this video didn't get out, we wouldn't be hearing anything about it. And I believe it's on my feed on my group page. I actually have a couple videos that are poking fun at it too, but still. But if you're on any platform by social media, you've seen it by now. And I read a story the other day that came across on the ticker bar on a sports column that someone was interviewing Damian Lillard about 6 months ago and asked, who was the biggest trash talker in the league? You know what his answer was? Jordan Poole, a bench player. We don't know what Poole said. Why didn't they suspend him? Moses Moody, he's a small forward, came out yesterday for the Warriors, and he said, we're ready to get our OG back. Draymond. All I'm saying is, you think you know, but you don't know. Nothing is the end of the world. Nothing is perfect. And this Draymond situation is a great example. The team, it's not a hot take. And I'm taking the side of Steve Kerr, which we'll say publicly to appease the internet, but privately we'll communicate, figure it out, and find a resolution. Because that's what big grown-ups do. You communicate. That's why people go to therapy when they have a crisis. They want to talk it out. Let's communicate. So on the side of Steve Kerr, he's not suspending him. On the side of that, it's not a hot take. Look, suspensions are often just to appease the public, but never solve anything. It doesn't change you. Has a suspension ever been enforced, then the person is changed? See, what changes people is communication. They sat down with Jordan Poole, with Draymond, and talking and apologizing. That's what changes relationships. Suspensions don't change anything except the paycheck. Now, people like to dig back and bring things in the past and say things like, so why didn't the Warriors suspend Draymond for the KD stuff? Well, that's because the organization was walking on eggshells constantly with KD, who's high maintenance, and they wanted to make sure they didn't offend him. And by the way, when KD left, there was a sigh of relief in the building that they could ask honest, authentic communication. You didn't constantly make sure KD was okay. And it's quite possible that people learn things, like Kerr saying, I'm never doing that again. These things just take time. There's a lot of gray area. But it's all about communication. Suspensions are just about appeasing people. It doesn't change it. Communication does. When you have a crisis in your life, what do? Hopefully you go to therapy and you talk about it. Communication and resolution. So I think this whole Jordan Poole, Draymond Green situation, suspension's not going to change anything. They have to talk it out. And if they have resolution and admission of guilt, then it's fine. Look, I like smart people. McVay with the OBJ situation publicly. Kerr with the Draymond situation publicly. I trust smart people that know situations better than me. I fall into the side of who's smart. I'll support them. Alright, so finally tonight, as I do every week on Friday, I go ahead and give you my take on my amazing Blazin 5, so let's get it going. So, the first one.
Ravens at Giants.
All right, the Ravens at Giants. I love it. The Ravens are two teams besides the Eagles that have led by 10 points in every game. Offense has been spectacular. Lamar is running. He's passing. It's amazing they spend money. It's amazing. They don't spend money in receivers, but they are virtually a top 10 in everything. Points, yards, big plays. Giants are coming off a 14-point comeback win against the Packers. I think they'll come down a little. Daniel Jones is 29th in the league in yards per game and 27 yards per attempt. The Giants, it was a nice win in London against Green Bay, but I don't think Green Bay is very good. And Baltimore is exceptional. I think the Giants pull back. I like Baltimore in this spot, -6. Ravens win it 28-20.
Jets and Packers.
All right, so the Jets have two back-to-back wins, and they're 2-0 on the road. Like I said, I don't think Green Bay is very good. Robert Saleh's defense is playing hard and with passion. And the rookies from the last two drafts are contributing. Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner. They have 4 different receivers. Only team in the league with 200-plus receiving yards. Their guys are open on every pass for the Jets. Guys are wide open. What happened to the Packers defense, by the way? I mean, seriously, what happened? They're disappointing everywhere. I think the Jets go in. They're real. They've got firepower, and they upset Rodgers and the Packers. This number could go from 7 to 7.5, but I'm taking the Jets with an upset 28-27.
49ers at Falcons.
I think this game will be a nail-biter. Falcons plus 5.5 is my play. Arthur Smith is a very clever coach. Top 10 scoring offense in the league. Did you know they have 37 big plays offensively? And you don't think they have any talent? They are a top 3 rushing offense, and the Niners are falling apart. Bosa, out. Javon Kinlaw, out. Armstead, out. Emmanuel Mosley, out. Forget E.J. Mitchell and Trent Williams. I mean, San Francisco has run out of healthy bodies. I think the Falcons can run on them. I think this game is quick. A lot of handoffs. They take away Jimmy G, who watches a lot of it. The Niners win close, though. Even the kicker, San Francisco, even the kicker is out for them. But the Niners win it close, 24-23, San Francisco.
Buccaneers and Steelers.
So, since you got humiliated last week, I'm taking Steelers plus 8.5. It's a bounce back spot. By the way, you can all bang on Kenny Pickett. Last week against Buffalo, he had 34 completions in the win, 327 yards, and 3 plays over 20 yards. I think Pickett can play. He just got overwhelmed. The Bucs offense is second worst running offense in the league. So even if Tampa takes the lead, they can't run it and eat the clock. Atlanta had a chance to beat them in the end, and they ended up getting dominated by Tampa. Even if Tampa leads, Steelers will get possessions. I like the Steelers a lot here, plus 8.5. They don't win, though. 27-21 Bucs, but I think it's a very competitive football game.
Cardinals at Seahawks.
I don't even understand this. Okay, Seahawks by 2.5. I'll take it all day. They're scoring a bunch of points. Seahawks are converting on 48% of third downs. That's top 3 in the league. Offensively, what do you want me to say? Points, yards, big plays, all of it. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are the worst first half team in the league. What does it mean? Division rival playing behind. Now Arizona may come to cover and win. But this is what I know. Seattle will lead. Seattle, Geno Smith with a lead. By the way, last 3 games with Geno Smith, 250 plus yards passing, 1 pick, and he had a QBR of over 100. Seattle with running the football, improving the offensive line. I like them in this spot. I think right now they're playing great football early in games. They jump out to a lead. Question is, can they hold it? Arizona has been a very good fourth quarter team. taking the Seahawks 28-23 in the Northwest. Outside of Baltimore, I like the underdogs this week. All right, so that's it for week 6. I trust you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Baseball division series on tonight. The Braves are in progress. They've got 2 more games, the Yankees and the Guardians, and the Padres and the Dodgers. I'm going to go catch on what's left of the Braves game. We'll see you back here Monday. Remember, if you haven't, subscribe and like to the video, to the YouTube channel, and add me on Spotify. I'll also post the link in my new Facebook group, First and 10, with updates and videos from around the sports world. You heard it first from This is First and 10.